Welcome back to Kicking It with Kenya. You know, this is obviously the post-COVID series. We are finally back on this couch. I still got Tommy Grayson on the couch.
I still got this wife beat on. I don't even know
Listen,
it's
hot.
It's hot in here.
Yeah, we dedicated out here. So yeah, like obviously we're really, like I said, everything's surrounding post-COVID. Like I'm happy to finally see Louis in person. Happy to finally get this going on.
This took
happy to see Chris.
Four months to plan.
For real, happy to see Chris right now. You know, our cameraman, we finally comfortable enough to come back around each other. So, but in the midst of all the COVID talk, you know, obviously on the background, we chat.
Yeah.
And we just was talking about a lot of the shows. Like, for the first few weeks of COVID, let's be real, some of us was couch potatoes and we watched a lot of television.
Yep.
So
played a lot of video games, watched a lot of movies, did a lot of
I wish I learned how to play video games, but that's for another. I'm like,
oh man,
it gives me anxiety. Especially Call of Duty. Y'all too serious.
I don't play Call of Duty.
Y'all too serious.
Call of Duty either.
No, but I'm just saying, like, anything like Call of Duty or 2K, like, dudes would take, like...
I don't play either.
A guy would teach me, like, for 5 minutes and be like, no, let me just take over. Like, oh, God, forget it. Like, I'm over it now. But I never learned. But it's like, when it comes down to TV, I feel like a lot of the times TV was also my escape.
TV's definitely my escape.
It's a drug, but sometimes it could be a good drug or a bad drug. So that's what we're going to talk about. But right now, I just want to know, what are some of the things that you guys like binge watch over, or like some things you might have picked back up? Now that we had all this time, what are some things that like you guys, me time, TV time?
TV time?
What did you guys watch?
You want to go first?
Actually, more so than shows, I caught up on a lot of movies that I either missed out on.
I did start some good movies.
Or purposely didn't watch or whatever. Like, I watched Coming to America.
Wait. The reason why that is big is because this man's a movie guy. And as many times as we have been on the phone, we have talked about Eddie Murphy, and like I have quoted the fact that in a previous episode, he announced that he has never seen Coming to America.
In its entirety, bits and pieces.
As a black person, that is blasphemous to say you have never watched Coming to America. So how'd you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it. As I told you, I do not think it's his best movie. Like how I've heard people say it's Eddie's best movie. I think it was very good, and I definitely would love to see a sequel to it. And I even told him I never watched any of the American Pie movies because
I love American Pie.
Those are my childhood.
But you see, for me, it's like I was never into like slapstick, that type of comedy.
It's not slapstick. It's that's teen comedy.
No, but that's what I mean. But at the
time
time it came out, it just didn't. I just didn't care to see.
Probably because it didn't resonate with you, like you know.
No, but I enjoyed it. And I said after watching it, I probably would have like had I saw it when it came out. I probably would have liked it even more.
I still rewatch that.
That's what I'm gonna say. You said it's not his best movie, but you have to remember it's been like 35 years, almost 40 years.
That's true.
How many other writers stole that material? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
that was the first time you ever seen McDowell's, you know, just having that whole.
They got the Big Mac. I got the Big Mac.
That's why I said it's hard. It's hard for me. Like I definitely think it's one of his top tier movie, even as though it came out as long as it did.
Because cultural impact.
Because I can still try to put it into its perspective, but it's like for me it's like The Exorcist. I saw The Exorcist late. But if I would have saw it when I was a little kid, like when I was like that, it might have had a different impact on how I viewed it. Like Chucky. I saw Chucky as a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was never afraid of Chucky like how most people were, but I could get how that would like kind of traumatize a little kid because I was a little kid when I first watched it. So I try to say that like to say like with certain movies like American Pie where it's just like, okay, if I would have watched this when it first came out. Like,
you watched it over COVID.
Yeah, I watched it because I binge watched a lot of movies and like on YouTube. Like I binge like Siren was one of the shows I also watched.
And you told me about that when you know my conspiracy around mermaids.
Siren is a show I watched that. I watched like the new Jumanji 3. I didn't see that, so I watched that. So certain movies I may have missed in theaters. The Hunt, like I decided to really watch. I didn't really get into a lot of shows. I didn't watch Tiger King yet. Oof. You know what I'm saying?
You missed a lot of
hear a lot
that was
the COVID.
That was the COVID
show.
Meme. Oh my god! And like, the memes. Oof.
I only watched it because of the memes.
I told people like that. So I didn't get into it like the first week that it popped off, but I waited a week. I watched episode 1. I was like, this is funny. I woke up the next day. I started episode 2, and before you knew it, I knew that I had watched the whole series. the memes and just
the songs,
the
Carol Baskin.
the Carol. Oh my God! We literally were in a world where Carol Baskin was being blamed for the pandemic. Let's put the water to wine.
That goddamn Carol Baskin.
She like that show for like 3 weeks was all anyone was talking about.
Like I think they released that show at the perfect time because it was nothing else to do.
Literally nothing.
Nothing else to do. And I remember I watched it the first week and I killed it in one day. One damn day. Like all of the jokes. So you can't talk. You know what's crazy? You can't talk about COVID without talking about Tiger King.
I made a meme. It was when you put a down payment on new wrestling gear and the pandemic extends all the way through August, and it's Joe Exotic saying, "I'm never going to financially recover from this."
That was even when people say I lost my job thanks to COVID, I'm never going to financially recover from this, and it's just Joe Exotic just. It's like that.
It's hysterical how much of a reality that one line from the show became. It's hysterical.
And it's just crazy how, like, basically that show, in a way, like, Carol Baskin's like the new Ja Rule. like the new Ja Rule. Like, everywhere it's like, that goddamn Carol Baskin.
Nah, she's Dinkelberg from Fairly Odd Parents.
Dinkelberg. Yep. Yeah, it's like, anything that go wrong. Like, I remember there was a TikTok where this person's like cup spilled over. They said, "Goddamn Carol Baskin." Yep. Like got a white everything. Like, but yeah, like that was definitely everything that people binged.
Or you just hear, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens."
Hey, all you cool cat. Yo, even
people were starting their Facebook or their tweet. Hey, all you cool cats.
You know what's crazy? On the Zoom, I think one of my co-teachers, one of my coworkers, actually said, "All right, hey, all you cool cats and kittens." I'm like, what is it? It's April. Like, why are we still saying this? But. And you know, they even didn't they reopen the investigation on her husband? Because of all the facts that everybody's like, you're missing it. Look at the signs. Yeah. People are actually trying to like get Joe Exotic off.
Yeah. Like even though Joe Exotic is a scumbag.
Oh yeah.
Joe Exotic is a scumbag. Let's not like try and paint him out to be, you know, this freaking
funny guy.
Yeah, funny in a laughing at you type of way.
Yeah, not like, oh, I want to be like this man.
Yeah. So if it's not your thing, I would.
I think Louis, you should just watch it.
I think you should. No,
I
just because you gotta just be.
I just didn't watch it.
I haven't watched a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff I haven't watched. There's a lot of stuff I have watched.
Like, I do think that a lot of outlets did a good job. Like, I feel like ESPN releasing the Last Dance documentary. You know, during the time the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah, that was. I didn't watch it. How was that?
I enjoyed it. See, it was stuff I already knew. It was mixed in with a lot of things where it's just like, okay, so it wasn't the flu, it was this, or like little things. But
because he said people wouldn't like him after this documentary.
Well, I mean, if you were a fan of Michael Jordan, you already knew the asshole that he was in terms of like as a teammate or as a personality. You knew this. This isn't new. You know what I mean? If you was expecting him to be all smiles and Hallmark cards with everyone, then you don't know Michael Jordan. That's just not him. Yeah. But I think that from a perspective of a sports fan like myself, for them to bump the documentary up and release it when they did, and as a wrestling fan, for them to release The Undertaker's documentary when they did, and just because they knew, a lot of people knew that everyone's going to be looking for something to watch, they're going to be home. So I felt like it was smart to get that content out. Like Netflix released, what's Chris Hemsworth movie, Extraction. I loved it.
I started it and didn't finish it.
I thought it was some of the best action fight scenes that I've seen in quite a while. Very Raid, John Wickish in terms of how it's shot and how it looks. I enjoyed it. I watched 13 Reasons Why, the new season of that.
I wanted to start that. I can't bring myself to start it. But I read the synopsis about it, so I know everything.
I just can't. After the first season, I just was like...
It's honestly, it's a show like Walking Dead's another show. Me and Kenya, actually, we watched that. On the phone, we watched that. And she has certain complaints about the show that I feel are tailored to 13 Reasons Why. It should not be a series. It should be one season. The story that they tell in it drags to the point where it's just like... It doesn't need to be 4 seasons long. I didn't like the first season.
I watched all of it, and I just wasn't a fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
and a lot of people are like
I'm one of those people that I will give it a chance, and I mean a full chance. Like, I will watch it all, just because I want to make sure my opinion isn't half-assed. Yeah.
I'm the type of person, if it doesn't interest me, I won't watch it.
I wish I was like that, because when I was watching that movie yesterday, The Kitchen, and I was like, during this COVID, I gave a lot of things a chance that I normally wouldn't give a chance. And yesterday, my family was over and my grandma was like, let's watch The Kitchen. We watching The Kitchen. I'm just like, I told Louis he should still watch it. And I still feel like everybody should still watch it. I don't want to give it away, but I just feel like I understood what people were saying as far as the reviews concerned. It wasn't a bad story. It was just slow. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that's the things I was doing during COVID. Like, I finally watched Crazy Rich Asians, which is a good show. I mean, it's a good movie.
I've heard about that.
It's so good. It's so good. I never thought, you know, it's crazy. I didn't see it because I didn't feel like I would relate. Yeah. Like, you know, I didn't feel like it was a movie for me to watch. Like, I liked Crazy Rich Asians. I watched Pet Cemetery, the original one, for the first time. Mm-hmm. And now I understand a lot of South Park jokes. Because I'm like, who's this old guy that keeps popping up in South Park? He's like, the UPS man's going to come and fuck the wife. Like, I didn't understand what this character... I didn't go where they got this character. Yeah. But I watched Pet Cemetery. I watched The Good Boys. You know that?
I watched that too.
Yes, that was the one that Judd Apatow and them made.
And Seth Rogen.
Yes,
the little boys.
I just watched that the other day. I tried watching it one night.
It was alright.
It was definitely a comedy. I think I'm mature, too old for it.
Yeah, it's if you're not a fan of that group of comedians, then you're not.
I'm a fan, but I just felt like the story. I would have appreciated this movie like when Superbad came out. That was us.
Yes.
Like Superbad, I had I was the age range for it.
But it was Superbad with younger children. That's essentially what the movie.
Yeah, and I just felt like it's not even just that. I just felt like because I watch movies with kids in it, but it's just like I just felt like the humor
just wasn't that funny.
My age wasn't like.
I tried it one night. I didn't get into it. I watched it the other night. I'll say this: it's funny. It's not something I ever need to watch again.
I could still watch Superbad.
I could watch Superbad anytime.
It could have also worked better in like a theater, like a crowded theater full of
everybody
a lot
laughing.
of people. Because I do feel like that type of atmosphere, especially for comedies and horror, it does help.
Yeah,
like when it's just a different type of energy.
The hardiness
of people.
Yeah,
I feel like I've certain movies I've watched in the theater where it's just like this isn't as funny watching it alone. As it was when I saw it. Like. You know, like, I feel like certain things, even with horror movies, like or action movies, like sometimes that festive energy that's in a theater when you watch it, like, it's just, I feel like it adds so much to the experience of watching it, which is why I love movie theater so much.
Yeah, and I guess, like, you know, once again, the movie industry, we already touched on that in the previous episode on what that's going to look like. I don't know, I felt like I found myself not necessarily binge watching new things, but I felt myself catching up with a lot of other series. Like I'm trying to finish Scandal. I'm trying to finish Gotham.
And I'm a Batman fan, like to the death. Like Louis knows, but I tried watching the first season. I just couldn't.
No, you have to watch Gotham.
And I've heard about that.
You have to watch Gotham.
You know what it was? It was too much of a cop show for me.
But I don't want to give it away from you. But it's like. Me and Louis go. I think we went to this before in previous episodes too. Like, and I just feel like Gotham. It does such a good job at the groundwork of the city and the villains.
That I understand. You know what it is. I was spoiled by Batman the animated series. That's my Batman story. The animated.
But see, it's not a Batman story in Gotham.
And that's my.
It's a Jim Gordon story.
I have no interest in Jim Gordon.
But it's like I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But
I get it. It's taking Law and Order and it's putting it in a fictional Gotham City where you see all of the characters come to rise. That would.
But it's like their rides are so fucking good. Like
you know what it is.
Their rides are so good. Like I just love like even the rides of like the Riddler and the rides of like Joker. Like,
but that's not the Joker.
But I just like the story though. Like,
but you also have to look at it from the perspective of this. Like
they have to
Joker is a villain that is that I would probably say is the most iconic comic book villain ever.
He is.
So to do a solo movie on Joker works because Joker sells. You can do a lot with him. Now you can do what you did with Joker with any Batman villain and make a good movie. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the same type of effect on society because a lot of people, you can have a good movie about a good character, but it's just a character a lot of people don't care about. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people may not just be invested to want to watch it unless you're like coming from the perspective of judging it solely as a film and you don't have that much attachment to the comic lore and you can just enjoy it as a film. But for some people, it's like you can do a Scarecrow movie and it could be good, but a lot of people don't care about that villain.
I'm not going to lie.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, and again, I'm a Batman fan. I don't know if I could go watch a Scarecrow movie. That's just me.
Yeah.
But you'd have to throw Batman in it and go because that spices it up a little bit. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you said that about Black Widow with Marvel. You said I don't need a Black Widow. That's how I feel about Hawkeye. A Hawkeye movie could be good, but how many people need it?
Fly.
But think how long it took them to do that. And again, you have probably the most popular female actress in Hollywood playing the role, and you've built this character up so much. It's not like you just threw it out there from jump. If you just threw that out there when Iron Man 2 came, no one would care because nobody knows. There's no investment there. You know what I'm saying?
I think what in relation to Gotham, like what. And maybe I'll pick it up one day. And a lot of the superhero shows, like I'm a fan of all of these characters. Like I love the comics, I love the video games, I love the cartoons. It's always the TV shows and the movies are hit and miss with me because they spend years developing these characters for you to become attached to them, for them to either miscast them or just something go off with it. And it's like,
I just didn't get that vibe with Gotham. I just felt like I don't want to make this like a Gotham show, but I just feel like, for me personally, I think the groundwork was done so well to the point where, like, I honestly love every character on that show, like, and just seeing their rise. But it's like, it's if you have time, since we're in COVID.
Would you compare it to Smallville, like for Superman?
I never watched Smallville.
Okay.
I never watched Smallville, but I just feel like I like how they done the Riddler. I like how they did Joker. I love how they did Mr. Freeze. I love how they did, like, I just felt like I love how they did each of these characters, and I love how they built the universe of Gotham, because it's like, I understand Batman now in a way. If that's why I kind of like the Joker movie as well. I just felt like it was so perfectly done for like the understanding of this society that they're in. But it's like, also so what are some things you watched over COVID?
So if I could go back, I just finished season 4, F is for Family.
I love F is for Family.
It took me a while for me to really get into that show, but season 4 was definitely the season to do it. I feel like the previous 3 seasons that they had spent building the characters up. It's a very abrasive show.
It's very, like, it's that very, and BoJack. You gotta, like, have a thick skin to watch that show.
I had to turn BoJack off.
You gotta watch BoJack.
BoJack. I get why. I understand its importance. I'm a Big Mouth fan. I think Big Mouth Big Mouth is the best cartoon to come out in years.
About puberty, too?
Not even that, just like being from New York and being from the tri-state, there's so much stuff that you could relate to. Like there's an episode in season 3 where the character Lola, she's like, and my mom said I could get double piercings, but at Home Depot, not because of Claire's. And I didn't realize how New York that was. My friend's watching, he start laughing and go, why is that funny?
I love
and
Lola.
He goes, oh, because Claire is only in, like, it's a New York only thing, or it's a you know, where we're from only thing. And I'm like, see, shit like that I appreciate. Mm-hmm. But Lola's a great character. I love Big Mouth. I love F is for Family. Pre-COVID, but the Wu-Tang show I think is one of the best shows that they have done. Period. Mm-hmm. You know, and just the everything, the casting. You know, say what you want about Dave East's Method Man, but you know, I think as far as being able to tell the story of how the Wu-Tang Clan, fictitiously as it might have been, because they call it's more on the lines of like Get Rich or Die Trying and 8 Mile than it is like this is how like they all came together. There's some fiction in there. You know, they got Ray and Ghost beefing and stuff like that. You know, they RZA and forgive me.
So basically, we putting on a lot of people these shows who did not watch it, because I didn't watch Wu-Tang.
Yeah. So RZA and Divine, the brothers, they come from a family of 11. It's just them and 2 other siblings in there. So there's a lot of things in there where it's like if you know the story of them, you might be like, all right, but the show is done in such a good way that it's like it makes up for all of like any of the drawbacks that you would have about it from that type of view. So that I recommend if you just want like a good show about hip hop. Dave, I watched.
I have to watch Dave.
I thought Dave was. I'm not a Lil Dicky fan at all. I don't like that type of rap. I don't like. Lou knows me. I like that. You know, the old school.
I don't think you listen to Lil Dicky, because Lil Dicky's actually nice.
He's a very talented.
I like Pillow Talk.
Like I've heard of. I heard his music before this show, and I was like, he's a white rapper. And what I mean by that is you're either gonna be a complete Eminem ripoff, or you're gonna be just a stoner. He's a white rapper in a sense, but the show is done in such a way. If you've ever seen like Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's that about Lil Dicky's rise in rap, and just the cameos of like they get, you know, YG and all of these, you know, different like figures in hip hop, and they do it in such a way that they're it's everything I don't like about his music, but I like about the show, if that makes sense.
Because I think, don't he like kind of make fun of himself as a rapper in the show?
Yes, he makes fun of himself.
Because I watched one episode with Young Thug on it.
Yeah.
And I found that to be so fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like how he was. Like, I just found it to be so hilarious. And I just always meant to like, but it's not on demand, so I couldn't go back.
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I need to reactivate my Hulu. Because I definitely haven't been using it.
Yeah, definitely get Hulu. I recommend that. That show was great. I watched Midnight Gospel, which not to get too into it, but that's a show that was made by the same people as Adventure Time, but it was the audio for it was actually a guy doing similar to what we're doing now, having like a podcast conversation, combined with like acid trip style animation about like. Just you have to watch it for yourself, but it's very, very like if you're into like shows that make you think and make you like really reflect, Midnight Gospel is definitely good. It's a cartoon on Netflix.
I feel like I'm the only girl on this couch because I don't have nobody to go back and forth with. But I definitely binge watched Insecure. Like I had to watch Insecure. I watched my RuPaul's Drag Race. I watched my reality TV shows. See, a time like this, I wish I had a girl because y'all don't watch stuff like this with me.
I've watched reality shows.
I've watched reality shows.
What reality TV shows did y'all watch?
I watched when it was popular. I watched the Flavor of Love stuff with Flavor Flav.
Oh, you were so in the early 2000s. Like we're talking about.
Pumpkin.
First of all, let's put some respect on the original thought, New York's name. Because New
Don't
York,
do my girl
New
like
York
that.
brought in ratings.
HB's head bitch in charge.
Wait, real quick.
Because she's fabulous.
Are you
New
Team
York
New York,
brought in-
Team Pumpkin, or Team
I was
Hoops?
always Team New York. I was always Team New York.
What about Hoops?
I was always fuck Hoops. I was always Team New York.
let's be
Look,
real
the
here.
season was so bad they had to bring her back
Let's be
for
real
the
here.
second season. I know.
Every dude watching that was Team Hoops. Let's be real.
Because y'all thought she was
sorry.
cute,
No,
but New York loved that man.
I rewatched that scene with
New York
Pumpkin
loved
in New
that
York
man.
all the time.
Slap me, bitch. Slap me. You just it. Slap me. Like, yo, she has iconic scenes. Like,
Even in the second season when she comes back, oh, you're actually the one who was brought here that sucked my mans off. And I'm like, that shit is hysterical.
Like, literally, New York is the reason why a lot of these girls are trying to, like, they had to put, like, these reality girls had to put respect on New York name. She was the original reality TV
Well, first of all,
queen.
she took all the attention away from Flav to the point that she got her
own
own
show.
spin-off. And she got it, and I think hers was the highest rated VH1 show. Period. Like she was.
I watched the moment
she was the one that brought it rated, and then it spawned a whole thing.
Like the birth of the like people Nicki Minaj like these chicks is my son. New York could literally say a lot of these chicks is my sons. Like you gotta just easily crown the queen. She is what she is. But it's like I definitely like watch a lot of reality TV, and I'm not ashamed to say that because I know people be like, "Oh, reality TV is garbage."
It is garbage.
There's people who say TV in general is garbage, but I feel like TV isn't garbage. It just depends on what you watch at certain points in your life. Because it's like, I feel like growing up, I was telling Louis that I grew up on a lot of shows like Living Single, which I rewatched again. Mm-hmm. I grew up on a lot of shows like Girlfriends and like Different World and like the Cosby shows. And I think like those shows attributed to the person that I am today, like a college educated woman who's a teacher.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this generation, I hope they got that because
this generation
don't have
this generation is screwed.
The quality of TV shows that we had then versus now.
So earlier we spoke about conspiracy theories. This is one I'm a heavy believer on. And this is more like into just it goes back to my 9/11 conspiracy theories. I believe that during Bush's second run for president during 2004, I believe the media of the world we hit a brick wall. And the decline of music, movies, everything happened between 2004 and 2005. So a lot of that stuff, it just like the quality just went down. So as a result, these kids are growing up with trash. They're growing up. They're growing like, and I try and explain it to my brother, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're just acting like an old dude." And I'm like, "No, dude, this is the thing that you don't realize. It's like the music and the shows and the entertainment that the millennials and Gen X grew up on was stuff that was of culture, and what I mean by that is it had actual like
substance.
Yes, it had substance. It had content.
It was more of it then.
Correct. Now everything is a carbon copy, cloned, recycled, digested version of something that was inspired by something. So the rap that you're growing up
even
with,
quality of movies, like
yes,
like reboots.
Right. So like I don't know how we got on this topic, but like. I don't think that the quality of entertainment that kids are getting today is is supporting anything. Like I feel like we're just lighting shit on fire and filming it.
Just basically pushing a dumb agenda.
Yes.
Basically, like to make the youth a little bit slower.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess it's like I know you said I don't know how we got on this topic, but I feel like it just
the
goes
quality of TV and stuff.
Like, because when I said it's shows that I grew up on, like the
Yeah.
nostalgic feeling of watching those shows, like that I rewatched over the COVID. It's like like I tell Louis all the time, like watching shows like Living Single and like Martin and like Fresh Prince
Wayne's
and like
Brothers.
Wayne's Brothers, where Sean owned he owned that newspaper stand. Like when you look at the shows, the quality of like black television, there was never like really worker bees. Everybody owned something. Like Joan was a lawyer. Tony Childs owned her own real estate company. It wasn't like thrown in the face, but it was always implied that these characters, in a sense, were like about their business. Like and now on TV, what we have Blackish.
Well, beyond just the ownership, it was just always that these were successful, well-off characters.
Yeah.
You had Dr. Huxtable, Uncle Phil, who was a success.
Congress judge person.
You had Pops, who owned a restaurant.
Owned the restaurant.
Yeah, a business owner. You had even Martin, like I said, Stan owned the radio station. Martin's a big-time radio
TV
guy.
and a TV person.
So all of these, Living Single, Maxine is a lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
turned alderman.
Yeah, so you have all of these where it shows a level of success, especially in the black community, that growing up on it becomes like a norm in your mind. Like
I have to be this way.
For me, well, not even, and also another aspect is the family aspect. Like growing up on shows like The Fresh Prince and The Cosby Show, Family Matters, all these shows, it was a togetherness where it was like you see the full family, you see the successful father, you see the hardworking family that are all together. Like you don't really see the broken home, a lot of that.
The girl shaking it for dollars to get
on
by.
reality TV now because it becomes the norm for kids growing up to where they grow up and they aspire to that. Because TV, whether people want to admit it or not, it has a very big impact on little kids growing up on what they're watching. That does have a huge impact on their psyche.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're growing up into certain things and you just see everything becoming the norm and everything becoming like, oh, so this is okay, this is acceptable, this is this. That's why a lot of people have the feelings they have about, like, I think it's a little far, but like Looney Tunes taking the shotgun away from Elmer Fudd. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like when you start getting to that aspect, because I grew up on Looney Tunes and I grew up on a lot of violent cartoons.
Oh,
but I understood their cartoons. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at them like
nobody did the work for you. You pieced that together.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like our generation was given the credit to like you guys. You can
figure it out.
You're not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fictional, it's cartoons.
And if not, we had our parents there to say, like, hey, like my mom's golden rule was always make believe. She goes, you can watch all that.
It's make believe.
It's make believe.
I grew up shooting everyone in Grand Theft Auto 3. I grew up shooting everyone in every Grand Theft Auto game. I never wanted to do it in real life, but when I came home from school or whatever, I'm blasting everybody, boom, boom, Kurt, all of that, because it was an escape. It wasn't real. I understood that. I never tried to emulate it.
And now the problem is that we foster a culture that tries to emulate everything they see on TV.
Right, because also like. We're not going to act like we didn't have our junk TV back in the day.
Oh, of course we did.
But I just feel like...
But our junk TV was the good TV.
Still.
I'm a huge Beavis and Butthead fan. I know a lot of people don't like that. When you realize the brilliance of that show for that time, it was literally two stupid idiots talking shit about the world. And everything they were saying was 100% like true. Even
like shows like Daria. It seemed depressing, but she was really just talking about high school angst.
Yeah, they were real. You know? But I never It was entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
But it was also still like not poisoning your brain.
No, it wasn't poisoning my brain because I was getting a healthy dose of reality in addition to that. I feel like that's the problem now. People are so turn the TV on and that's life. People forget how to go outside. People forget human interaction and everything like that. So I feel like the media becomes and the TV you consume becomes the scapegoat for your problems. Based on, what you're watching or what you're emulating. So if a kid goes and shoots up a school, they're going to blame it on the video games. They're going to blame it on the shows. They're going to blame it on the
But I feel like there's so many other factors that goes into that decision and stuff. Like my thing is, like I said, like I'm not going to act like I was always in a household where like, oh yeah, you better hit them books and da. No, I was a TV child. I was a TV child by far. And it's like, but I feel like the quality of TV that I was watching, it's like, it just sucks that I just know that kids today are just not going to have that. Like, and I also, going back to your conspiracy theory, I do think it was a conspiracy theory. Because when you think about, like, us millennials who grew up on good television,
and good music,
of people who, like, had a purpose, of people who achieved dreams, of people who lived, like, being a Cosby, you aspire to live in that type of house. I went to Brownstone. Like, I didn't know, like, I didn't know back then Hillman wasn't a college, but I knew I wanted to freaking go. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be like Whitley and find my Dwayne. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like, I wanted to be like Joan, who lived in LA, who was a lawyer, and like all these things. So then obviously in your brain, you're thinking, I have to get good grades. I have to do this, I have to do that. And I think, like, obviously, if you look at like the 90s TV shows and where we are now as adults, there was a spike in education in our communities. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody was getting educated. Everybody was doing these things. Everything was like, people were achieving, and then they're probably like, your conspiracy, no. Mm-hmm. We don't want that. Take that shit off TV. Because it's like, I swear, once UPN died, it's like, and they replaced it with a bunch of crap, these kids these days are just lost. Like, and it's because they don't have, like, it's not like in my family I had a lot to look up to. Mm-hmm. And I know there's always a lot of people like me, but you at least, I could be like Maxine Shaw. I could be like Queen Latifah, you know, things like that. So I don't know. I just feel like, I know we like went into something deep, going from like the things that we watch on Netflix and then the things that we grew up on, because it's like the two intertwined. Yeah. But it's like, if you haven't checked out any of these shows, or you have any shows you want to recommend, by all means, please like, subscribe, comment, and until next time, peace.